6 p.m. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Kanooz Ashraf. First, the headlines. Prime Minister and Chief of Naval Staff at a meeting in Islamabad have discussed professional matters of Pakistan Navy. Foreign Minister and his Russian counterpart discussed entire gamut of bilateral relations and regional situation in Moscow today. In occupied Kashmir, Indian forces in their continued reign of terror have arrested over a dozen of youth during nocturnal raids in Pulwama district. Russia has asked the Western countries to dissuade Ukraine from escalating tensions in Kerch Strait area. Qatar is sending 24 armored vehicles to Mali to combat terrorism. On the opening day of first cricket test at Centurion, South Africa bowled out Pakistan for 181 in the first innings. And now the news in detail. Chief of Naval Staff Admiral Zafar Mahmood Abbasi called on Prime Minister Imran Khan in Islamabad today. Professional matters of Pakistan Navy were discussed during the meeting. On the final leg of his tour to regional countries, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi held discussions with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow today. They discussed the entire gamut of bilateral relations and regional situations, especially progress on Afghan peace and reconciliation process. The talks also focused on converting the existing bilateral multi-dimensional relations into strategic partnership. Earlier, the foreign minister visited Afghanistan, Iran, and China, where he discussed with his counterparts and other high-ranking officials issues pertaining to regional peace and stability in the context of Afghan peace process. A two-day envoys conference on economic diplomacy will begin in Islamabad tomorrow to attract foreign investment. The conference has been arranged by Ministry of Foreign Affairs in collaboration with Ministry of Commerce and Board of Investment. Pakistan's ambassadors and heads of missions from select capitals, representatives of public and private sectors, and government institutions would participate in the conference. The conference will deliberate on ways and means to enhance foreign direct investment and trade, particularly exports. Minister for Information and Broadcasting Chaudhry Fawad Hussain says the PTI inherited poor economy from the previous rulers, but now the PML and leadership is blaming the incumbent government for economic crisis in the country. This he said in a tweet message today while reacting to PML and leader Hamza Shehbaz's remarks about the national economy. He said Hamza Shehbaz's statement is tantamount to justifying their loot and plunder. Earlier, Hamza Shehbaz in media talk had targeted the PTI government for economic crisis in Pakistan, saying that country has only few days of foreign exchange reserves. Pakistan and Argentina have discussed ways and means to boost their bilateral relations in diverse fields at their talks in Islamabad today. The Pakistan side was led by Secretary Commerce Yunus Thaga, while the Argentinian delegation was headed by its ambassador to Pakistan, Rodolfo Jos Martin Saravia. The Secretary Commerce said Pakistan and Argentina have $200 million of annual bilateral trade, which could be enhanced up to $800 million. He said the two sides would hold talks next year to finalize modalities on preferential and free trade agreements. He said it would help boost Pakistan's exports to Argentina in medicine processing, information communication, textile, and agri-product fields. On the occasion, the Argentinian ambassador offered Pakistan to take advantage of Argentina's expertise in the fields of livestock, food, and meat processing technology. Ministry of Planning and Development and Reforms has clarified a news article regarding the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor debt published in a section of press today. A statement issued by ministry said the article is based on incorrect information, baseless assumptions, and biased analysis. The ministry clarified that China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a flagship and most active project of Belt and Road Initiative, which CPEC finances comprises of government, to government loans, private investment, and grants. The statement said that to date, 22 projects are progressing in various stages of implementation, and government financial liability is only to the tune of $6 billion, comprising of low interest loans and grants in infrastructure projects spread over 20 to 25 years payback period. It also said, therefore, giving the impression that $40 billion liability in Pakistan is false, baseless, and distorted. This is Radio Pakistan. President Dr. Arif Alvi has said that the government is committed to provide efficient, equitable, and accessible and affordable health services to the people. This he said during his visit to National Institute of Health in Islamabad today. The president underscored that research is essential for improvement in health systems. Afghanistan's new ambassador to Pakistan, Shukrullah Atif Mashal, called on President Dr. Arif Alvi at Afghani Sadr in Islamabad today and presented credentials to him. Meanwhile, Federal Ombudsman Syed Tahir Shehbaz and a delegation of Sargodha Chamber of Commerce and Industries separately called on President Dr. Arif Alvi in Islamabad today. During the meetings, they exchanged views on different matters of mutual interest. In occupied Kashmir, Indian police have unleashed a reign of terror in Pulwama district, arresting over a dozen youth in nocturnal raids. The family members of the youth said that they were innocent and their only fault was that they participated in a peaceful procession organized to condemn civilian killings in the district. On the other hand, Indian troops arrested a 17-year-old student from Mandahar area of Poonch district. The troops also arrested his father, a teacher by profession. Qatar is sending 24 armored vehicles to Mali in a move to combat terrorism. Qatari Foreign Ministry said the shipment would help combat terrorism and establish security not only in Mali but also in the African Sahel countries, known as the G5. The step has taken after Gulf Arab neighbors accused Qatar of supporting terrorism and imposed a diplomatic and economic boycott last year. Russia has expressed the hope that Western countries will dissuade Kiev from escalating tensions in the Kerch Strait area. The expression has made after British Defense Minister Gavin Williamson, during his visit to Ukraine, told his Ukrainian counterpart that the Black Sea did not belong to Russia and Britain has sent a Royal Navy ship there to show Kiev did not stand alone. The two Koreas launched a project today to reconnect rail and road links served since 1950 to 53 Korean War. However, actual construction cannot start while sanctions remain in place against North Korea. In the United States, a second migrant, 8-year-old boy from Guatemala, has died due to illness in the government custody. The child was detained with his father on 18th of this month after illegally crossing the US-Mexico border. In Italy, 30 people were injured in an earthquake when a 4.8 magnitude hit Mount Etna in Sicily early today. Many buildings were also damaged by the earthquake. On the opening day of the first cricket test against Pakistan at Centurion, South Africa, in the first innings were 14 without any loss a short while ago. Earlier, Pakistan in the first innings were all out for 181 runs. Babar Azam with 71 runs and Azhar Ali with 36 runs were the main scorers for Pakistan. For South Africa, Donny Olivier took 6 wickets, Kagiso Rabada 3, while Dale Steyn 1 wicket. And finally, the weather report. Dense and shallow foggy conditions are likely to continue in plains of Punjab, Upper Sindh and Peshawar division during morning-night hours during next 12 hours. However, cold and dry weather is expected in most parts, while very cold weather in northern parts of the country. Frost is also expected in other parts of the country during morning hours. To end the news, some of the headlines once again. Prime Minister and Chief of Naval Staff at a meeting in Islamabad have discussed professional matters of Pakistan Navy. Foreign Minister and his Russian counterpart discussed entire gamut of bilateral relations and regional situation in Moscow today. In occupied Kashmir, Indian forces in their continued reign of terror have arrested over a dozen of youth during a nocturnal raids in Pulwama district. Russia has asked the Western countries to dissuade Ukraine from escalating tensions in Kerch Strait area. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com Radio Pakistan News Official.